There have been many great drivers down the years in Formula 1, and while the debate about who's the greatest will go on for some time, today we take a look at the top 5 drivers from the 2010s based solely on the amount of wins they had in World Championships during that time. So before you start slating us in the comment section, this is based on stats and not opinion. Number 5, Max Verstappen. With 8 wins during the 2010s, Max Verstappen was laying down the marker for what would turn out to be an incredible career in Formula 1 so far, and he isn't done just yet. At the age of only 25, Verstappen is a 2-time world champion and looks likely to add to his tally again in 2023. He broke onto the scene in 2015 with Toro Rosso, and after only a season and a half with the team, he was promoted to the senior Red Bull team, winning on his debut. But with his Formula 1 debut coming in the 2015 Australian Grand Prix, Verstappen would become the youngest driver to start a race and the youngest driver to score points not long after in Malaysia. His best season in the 2010s was the 2019 season when he finished 3rd in the championship, taking victories in Austria, Germany and Brazil, along with podiums in Australia, Spain, Hungary, Singapore, the USA and Abu Dhabi. With 8 victories throughout the 2010s, Verstappen was level with Jenson Button, but with Verstappen's incredible break onto the scene and continued improvement as the decade went on, we have awarded him 5th spot on our list. Number 4, Fernando Alonso. The 2010s won't be an overly memorable decade for the 2-time world champion compared to the previous 10 years, but the 2010s saw him step away from Formula 1, but he has since returned and claimed his 100th podium at the 2023 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. But the 2010s decade started with a switch to Ferrari, with a 2nd place finish in the championship behind Sebastian Vettel. With 5 race victories, it would be his best season since he won the 2nd Formula 1 World Championship with Renault back in 2006. The following year would see Alonso drop to 4th in the standings, winning only the British Grand Prix. But both the 2012 and 2013 seasons would be much better for the Spanish driver, with 2 2nd place finishes and 5 race wins over the 2 seasons, with him being pipped to the 2012 title by only 3 points by Sebastian Vettel once again. 2014 would be Alonso's final season with Ferrari before he made the switch to McLaren Honda, a move that would see him suffer down to 17th place in the standings, picking up only 11 points, with his only point scoring finishes coming at the British and Hungarian Grand Prix. 2018 would be his final season with McLaren, switching to the Renault engines and finishing in 11th place overall, before stepping away from the sport as he set his sights on winning the Triple Crown, before returning in 2021 to the Renault team, rebranded as Alpine going into the season. Number 3, Nico Rosberg. The first driver to win a World Championship during the 2010s on our list is the 2016 World Champion Nico Rosberg. After 4 seasons of total domination from Sebastian Vettel, the regulation changes allowed Mercedes to be at the very front of the grid, and Rosberg's teammate Lewis Hamilton took full advantage of that. However, his run was over in 2016 when one of the most hotly contested title battles took place, one that drove the teammates apart in the pursuit of glory. After winning the opening 4 races of the season, Rosberg and Hamilton collided in Spain in the same race that Verstappen won his very first Grand Prix. With only 1 win in the next 7 races, Rosberg finally got his winning streak back underway in Belgium, and while Lewis Hamilton closed the gap in the final few races of the season, all Rosberg needed going into the Abu Dhabi finale was to finish on the podium to claim the championship, which he did. And only a few days later he announced his retirement from the sport and therefore would not defend his title the following season. Mercedes was the only team that Rosberg raced for in the 2010s, making the switch from Williams for the 2010 season and beyond. His original teammate was 7-time world champion Michael Schumacher, creating one of the strongest teams in Formula 1, an all-German team that would lay down the foundations for the success the team had during the hybrid era. 2 7th place finishes in the driver's standings was followed by a 9th place finish before scoring almost double the points in 2013, finishing 6th. 2 2nd place finishes in 2014 and 2015 would come before his eventual title victory in 2016, scoring 385 points and 9 Grand Prix wins. Over the decade, Rosberg won 23 Grand Prix and therefore claims third place on our list. Number 2, Sebastian Vettel. 4 World Championships and 48 Grand Prix victories was the story of the 2010s for Sebastian Vettel as he claimed his place in the Formula 1 history books. His dominance began right at the start of the decade, claiming the 2010 World Championship ahead of Fernando Alonso by only 4 points. He would win only 5 races on his way to the title, but with 10 podiums, it gave him enough points to go one better than the second place he achieved the year prior. 2011 would be his most dominant to this point, with 11 wins out of the 19 races and 17 podiums overall to win the title by a then record 122 points. 2012 went down as one of the craziest and potentially greatest seasons in Formula 1 history, with only 3 points separating Vettel and Alonso as the German driver claimed his third championship of his career. A win in Bahrain early in the season was his only victory in the opening half of the calendar. However, a 4-race winning streak at the tail end of the year was enough for Vettel to make it title number 3. 2013 would be the year that Sebastian Vettel would really conquer the world, winning the championship by a record-breaking 155 points ahead of Fernando Alonso once again. An incredible 13 race wins with 16 podiums in the 19 races would bring the current era of the sport to a close before the hybrid era came in the following year. Vettel then made the switch to Ferrari for the 2015 season, and his best performances for the Italian team were in 2017 and 2018, where he finished second in the championship, with Vettel remaining with the team for the rest of the decade, making the switch to Aston Martin in 2021 and eventually announcing his retirement at the end of 2022. But with 4 world titles and 48 race victories in the 2010s, that is why Vettel takes the number 2 spot on our list. Number 1, Lewis Hamilton. There was only one driver that could beat the total domination of Sebastian Vettel at the start of the decade, and that was Lewis Hamilton, who claimed 5 world championships between 2014 and 2019. McLaren was the home of Hamilton at the start of the decade, with 10 race victories for the team between 2010 and 2012. His switch to Mercedes for the 2013 season, replacing Michael Schumacher, was called risky at the time, but it paid off and he claimed a second world championship in 2014 with 11 race victories and 16 podiums overall in the 19 races on the calendar. This added to his first world championship with McLaren back in 2008. 2015 would see Hamilton beat teammate Nico Rosberg to the title by 59 points, with 10 race victories and 17 podiums in the 19 races, ending the season on 381 points, only 3 less than the previous year. His second place finish in 2016 would see Hamilton claim 10 race victories and 17 podiums along with 12 pole positions before he returned to glory in 2017, finishing ahead of Ferrari Sebastian Vettel and now being partnered by Valtteri Bottas, who joined the team from Williams. 2018 and 2019 would be 2 more victorious years for the British driver as he added title number 5 and 6 to his tally with 22 victories and 34 podiums over the course of the 2 seasons. His dominance continued into the following decade with another title win in 2020 before Max Verstappen pipped him to the title in 2021 on the final lap of the season. But with 5 world titles and 73 Grand Prix victories in the 2010s, that is why Lewis Hamilton is, based on stats, the best driver in Formula 1 of the last decade. So that is our top 5 drivers of the 2010s based on the amount of title wins they had and also the Grand Prix wins during the decade. Comment below your top 5 from the 2010s and give a reason why they deserve a place on the list. We hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, then make sure you hit that like button and also don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any content here on the Apex Motorsport. Thanks for watching and I hope you can join us in the next one. Goodbye.